Good day, K-12 esports fans. I'm Dustin Owens, one of the coordinators for the K-12 Esports League, and I am here to bring you some action from our Super Smash Solos tournament that we've been hosting over the past couple weeks. We started on April 7th. This tournament was open to all K-12 powered students. We had 18 that started out during our first week, and now we're hitting some of those middle rounds coming into week two with some really, really good actions, some players we haven't seen before, some very noticeable players from the league play. If you go back on some of those videos and watch what had happened throughout the competitive season, and we won't be able to get to every single matchup in this particular video, but we wanted to showcase at least four of the matches that we were able to get recorded for you and everything. So without further ado, we're going to get into this first matchup here for the week two of solos, and it's against Hack Trio versus Arson. We have Hack Trio on this link as well as Arson on this Joker, and let me tell you, they bring some good gameplay here to the Smash Solos tournament. And starting out, everybody's kind of getting a feel of how they really need to start playing to be able to get their strategy and everything in line. Arson getting some decent damage into Hack Trio getting it filled out, trying to hit with that Link bomb, not quite able to get that. Is going to try to find some poke damage in there, but like I said, each player filling each other out, kind of getting this warm up on small battlefield. We're doing the same format that we did in competitive season. Going into round two, they're going to be on Final Destination, and if there is a round three, it will be Battlefield. But Hack Trio getting a little bit of damage onto Arson, continuing some of that, getting up to 47. Getting hit by that bomb is Arson. Link, Hack Trio getting that up smash in, and Arson unfortunately able to make it back to the stage, is going to lose that first stock. Hack Trio looking to try to take a clean sweep here at 66%. Definitely some damage taken, 76 now. Arson getting in some of that, 85. But Hack Trio hanging strong at the moment. Waiting for the opportune time, is going to find Arson with that bomb, and is going to continue to try to bring some of that pressure on. Arson utilizing the platforms to get out of Hack Trio's way. Hack Trio getting that upward slash, is going to find some damage, taking them down to 32% on against Arson. Arson being able to stay out of the way of the Link bomb and everything, getting a good hit there at 96%. Hack Trio is now going to have to be careful because they are able to get hit off at this point with some of Joker's kit, especially in this overdrive state. Hack Trio now at 110%. Very good shield there by Hack Trio. Able to kind of come in behind Arson and get that attack going as well, getting them up to 62%. Arson about to lose that that power-up ability from Joker, but still getting in some of that damage onto Hack Trio at 134% now. Waiting to see if they can get this first stock take. Hack Trio, though, with a good hit there. Not quite enough to get Arson off just yet. And it's looking like that second stock is going to be taken off. Arson now down to the final stock of this first round in this best of three. Hack Trio looking to try to take it all and keep all their stocks. But it's going to be difficult with 134% damage. Arson back up into that powered up state. Trying to find the best opening. Not quite able to get anything just yet. Does find a good shot there, but not enough to take Hack Trio out. They're going to be able to get back onto that stage. And Hack Trio using them bombs effectively, getting a little bit of additional damage with that boomerang and everything. Arson, though, with a big hit, and still not enough to take Hack Trio off at 167%. 71% now is Arson. Hack Trio gets a really solid up beyond to Arson, but not quite high enough damage to be able to get them off just yet. At 112%, Arson is now in a difficult situation, and Hack Trio able to keep all three stocks, getting up to 167.8%, and is taking round one of this best of three. Kudos to both of these players. Again, kind of just getting the feel of how everything is going to flow at the beginning of this matchup, but Hack Trio giving a really good performance, taking out all three stocks against Arsene. And we have waiting in the stands with us Annabella, who is going to be playing the winner of this matchup. Looking like the players are probably going to try to strategize for just a second, but quickly coming back in. Doesn't look like they're going to change their players. They did have that option, but this is what we're going to go with. Round two, Final Destination.
3, 2, 1, go!
A little bit of dodging there back and forth. Hack Trio being able to get the first several hits onto Arsene. 42% now, very early on. Hack Trio continuing that onslaught, trying to throw a bomb, does get a miss. Arsene's able to kind of dodge both of those actually. Is in the powered up state, but 97% climbing to 114 is gonna be in trouble with that. That first stock is taken. Hack Trio looking really good going into the second round, only at 9%. Getting onto that damage to Arsene. Arsene finally gets the opening, is able to do some poke damage here and there to Hack Trio. Able to kind of dodge up underneath Hack Trio as they're jumping and everything to get this down B. But Hack Trio is going to find that slash. Throws another bomb. Unfortunately going to miss. Arsene's able to dodge that. But getting the up B, getting that additional major damage in. Arsene now at 91%, 106% climbing. Is going to need to find something, get their footing. And unfortunately, it's going to not find the stage when trying to come back, and he's down to the last stock. Arsene will need to get a stock take here or there to be able to keep this matchup alive if they want to continue on. And we see Hack Trio now at 66%, Arsene 16. Hack Trio just kind of waiting out that shield. Arsene able to dodge the bomb in the process. Is going to be able to get some good damage onto Hack Trio at 114%, and we do finally see that stock take. Is this going to be the up and up for Arsene? Can they hold out at 57% with Hack Trio at two stocks? Hack Trio getting some good damage in now, looking in trouble for Arsene at 98%. Taking their time though, going in, be able to find that poke damage. Good shield though to be able to dodge. But Hack Trio is going to find that down B, and Hack Trio with a big slash there, not enough to get Arsene off, but Arsene, unfortunately, I think it was a little bit misunderstanding with the controls and everything, but does not get that stage clean back, and Hack Trio will take this round. And so the next matchup that we have is going to be Annabella versus Hack Trio. As we get this set up for just one moment, we will be right back. All right, and we are quickly back into the action, going in here to the second matchup for our stream and everything today. Hack Trio versus Annabella. Annabella coming in on the Daisy, which honestly, I love the pick. We've seen Peach and we've seen Daisy and everything. Can do some really good stuff given in the right hands and everything of these Smash players. But again, having some extra people from outside of the league really joining into the Solos tournament, getting to see what kind of competition we have here in the K-12 Esports League and throughout K-12. But Hack Trio right now getting a lot of damage in on Annabella, currently up at 111%. Gonna have to try to split the difference here. Annabella, though, getting some back here onto Hack Trio very quickly at 72%. Annabella now currently sitting at 140, and Hack Trio probably one move away there, and as I'm saying, it is going to find that first stock take. Hack Trio currently up by 1 stock, sitting at 72% though. Definitely not impossible here for Annabella to get the first stock take and continue moving forward. But Annabella now taking some of that damage, using that shield wisely on this stage and everything. Getting a little bit of lag here on the gameplay. Should clear back up any minute though. But Annabella sitting at that 40%, Hack Trio sitting at 73%. Using that shield to avoid Hack Trio's slashes and everything there. Doing a really good job, but is going to get hit by an up slash and taken to 70%. Big hit there. Again, Hack Trio going to use that bomb to try to do off stage. Very good strategy there, but not able to find Annabella. She's able to up dodge over that. Annabella, though, now again getting in a sticky situation, but uses the Toad and has a really good hit. Does a really good job at stage guarding, but not quite because Hack Trio is able to get back up on the stage. Going to use that down the ability and continue to try to stage guard. Very, very close for Annabella getting that stock off of Hack Trio, but Hack Trio still holding on. Really, really good being able to get back to that stage. Hack Trio, though, now taking the second stock off of Annabella. Annabella going to have to be careful and use the remaining stock she has wisely. Wants to try to get this stock take as soon as possible to give them the best advantage. Big hit and everything onto Hack Trio, but again, and Hack Trio not able to get back to the stage this time. Actually puts Annabella in a decent position, even with the 1 stock remaining. But Hack Trio is going to quickly come in and give some of that damage at 32%. Going to continue some of that onslaught. And then Annabella finding some footing to be able to get some damage in as well. But now sitting at 69% and climbing a little bit. Going to have to be careful if they don't want to lose this stock. It is a best of 3, and it looks like Hack Trio is going to take that final stock off Annabella. And now we head into a round 2 on Final Destination for this matchup. And I will say, Hack Trio and Annabella are currently in the secondary bracket and the losers bracket of this tournament. So whoever is eliminated here will officially be eliminated from the Smash tournament. And we're going to see if either of these players have any strategy or any kind of character swaps they may have. I think Hack Trio on this link has been doing a very good job. Doubtful that we'll see any difference or changes in that. Annabella, though, maybe looking to try to switch strategies just a little bit. Doing a very good job on the Daisy, mind you, but you know, could be looking at something slightly different to be able to counter this Link character in this gameplay. And we do see Annabella coming out with a Ganondorf, which we have seen a couple times even during the competitive season, just as a counter pick. So definitely not something to shy away from, as Ganondorf is this big hitter. Does remind you of this iconic Link and Ganondorf debacle, though, within the Legend of Zelda games. So very interesting to see. Will the hero still continue to triumph, or will we see a Ganondorf finally defeat Link here? Currently, Hack Trio, though, on this Link, getting in a lot of damage into Annabella. Annabella looking to give some sort of pressure with some of these heavy hits, and it doesn't take a lot from Ganondorf. We already see him up to 77% Hack Trio, and continuing on 89, getting some good shots in. Annabella really only needs to grab and do a certain move to be able to get Link off at this point. Just needs to have the right combination and stock, and it looks like we are going to get that down smash. Annabella getting the first stock off of Hack Trio, but Hack Trio not going to take this damage lightly, not going to, wants that stock take to count for something. Annabella currently up at 138%, is going to get hit by the bomb in the process, and unfortunately is not going to be able to get back to the stage because Ganondorf, having the abilities that he has, doesn't necessarily give him good stage recovery presence, but very quickly back up and bringing some of that damage to Hack Trio up to 80% now, 95% and continuing to climb. Annabella looking to get this second stock off of Hack Trio, who's now at 111%, but unfortunately is going to have a little bit of a hiccup and not be able to find the stage. So Annabella, unfortunately, at a disadvantage with that one less stock, and they didn't even have as much damage. So I'm hoping they have a chance to come back here at 119%. Though Hack Trio is looking to not get any stocks taken off, is going to have to be really careful from this Ganondorf because of the heavy hits that this character can do. And with that, we are going to find that second stock take off Hack Trio. Annabella looking to finish this out and get that final stock take to take this to round 3. Hack Trio wants to finish this thing here and now. Looking pretty good so far with the 0% at 124% for Annabella, using those bombs. And Annabella, unfortunately, again, not able to quite get back onto the stage, isn't going to recover. And Hack Trio is going to continue moving forward in this secondary bracket for this Smash Solos tournament. With that being said, we will be back momentarily with the other couple of matchups that we have for the evening as we'll officially finish off. All right, and we are officially back with match 3, I should say, with Arson, as we've seen on the Joker before, and Cashua, which we've actually seen in competitive season. Definitely noticeable on this King K. Rool, so I am very curious to see how this pans out, everything. But currently, Arson at 44%, Cashua already getting in some big hits onto this Joker, 61% in climbing. And we know that this King K. Rool that we've seen throughout the season, whether it be Cashua or anybody else that has played them, we understand that he's a very, very heavy hitter. And very quickly getting that first stock off, Cashua wanting to make sure that this matchup goes as quick as possible, wants to try to get along in this tournament. But Arson looking to try to come back, is going to be able to get some damage in there, going to try to get some poke damage here and there without necessarily taking the full brunt of the damage coming from Cashua. Is going to be hit by the crown and the follow-up and everything there. Going into this upgraded state, though, gonna try to find some damage. Good shielding there by Cashua, getting the ground pound and playing the stage guard really, really well. Cashua keeping Arson from getting back onto the stage. Is sitting at 73% though. Definitely not something to take lightly, with Joker being able to still hit at a decent rate, especially in this upgraded form. Cashua, though, trying to continue their onslaught, wanting to get this final stock take to take it to round 2 in this best of 3 matchup. Huge hit onto Arson there, and with 115%, I was gonna say, is not gonna take much to get that last stock off. Cashua making quick work in round 1 with 3 stocks remaining. Going into round 2 on to Final Destination, Arson's going to want to look at capitalizing and getting that first stock take and trying to keep this matchup alive in this best of 3 setting. We will see who triumphs, see if there's any changes to the actual character choices as well. We've seen Arson obviously pretty much staying on Joker this whole time throughout this thing, but we never know who is going to pull out what. As we've seen from competitive season, we went from fall season to winter season with some of these players having a choice of character in the fall and then switching over to something different completely come the winter season and everything. However, we also don't know all of these players that are participating in the solos tournament, because this was open to, as I mentioned, all K-12 powered students. And so we've got some people waiting in the wings, and coming out of the gate and everything like that, ready to compete. And we actually do see a little bit of a change up on from Kashua using the Me Brawler, which I know I've seen in previous competitive years. I don't think I've seen personally any Me Brawlers much this season, but we have seen them in the past and still know what they're fully capable of. Definitely a different kind of fighting style and everything. But with that being said, Kashua doing really well on this Me Brawler so far, getting Arson up to 57%. Arson trying to find a good break in the defense for Kashua here, as Kashua is kind of on this onslaught, but Kashua putting up that shield, able to dodge it out and just continuing that damage and everything. 115% now is Arson. Kashua looking to capitalize on this first stock take. Not quite able to find it just yet. Is going to do a little bit of just staying there by the edge. Arson not quite able to get back onto the stage. And so we move now Arson to 2 stocks. Kashua with 3. Just waiting at the moment. A little slow here going into the second stock. Kashua at 32%. Not getting hit so far. Arson able to finally get some damage in. And now at 55%, Kashua is going to continue from a distance, being able to throw that ball and everything. Arson going into that upgraded state for Joker. And Kashua getting stock number 2 off of Arson. This is considered match point, as if Arson loses this final stock, not only will this matchup be over, but Arson will also be eliminated from this Smash Solos tournament. Kashua at 88%. Arson really just needing to get a solid hit in on Kashua to be able to get that first stock take. 98% now is Kashua. Kashua coming back to counter and continue the damage onto Arson, finding it slowly. Now at 109%, 114%. Arson having a really good combination set up there. Kashua continuing to use that shield though. And now Arson is sitting at 70%. Arson wanting to try to get this stock take, trying to find an opening, but Kashua continuing to find hits here and there, continuing to get that damage up. Good hit there from Arson. Kashua is able to recover onto the stage. And with that ball, and Kashua coming out off of the stage to find Arson, and is going to find that final stock, is going to knock Arson out of the Smash Solos tournament. And Kashua continuing on this winner side of the bracket is going to be going up against none other than Legend, as you would know from the competitive season, but we will see them as Saki24. So we will be back momentarily with that matchup. All right, and we are back with our 4th match that we have on stream for today, and this is going to be Kashua versus Saki24, aka Legend from the competitive K12 Esports League season. And we've seen them, it's been siblings on the same account between Sora and the Pit, or Dark Pit, depending on who was playing. We have Sora being utilized today from Saki24 on against Kashua, using this Me Brawler again. Kashua currently up to 58% though. Saki only at 13%, getting up to 22%. Kashua with a good hit there. And a good combination overall, but Saki able to get free and be able to really take it to Kashua, getting up to 113% at the moment. Gonna try to utilize this Sora kit to be able to get this, and is gonna find that first stock take. Kashua down now by 1. Looking pretty good though overall. Gonna get to 55% against Saki 24 here. Saki is trying to get and is going to find a hit there. Cashwell with a good block there against that combination of hits from Saki. Saki currently at 87% now. Cashwell with a big hit there. Trying to get this first stock. Doing a really good job with the follow-up so far. Getting Saki up to 103%. Currently just kind of feeling everybody out and getting the dodges in there when they can. Finding a sneak attack in there to be able to get Saki up to 114%. Saki currently going through those elemental damages. Is going to take a huge hit, but able to get back to the stage with no issues. Saki able to recover and quickly get a hit onto Kashua. Kashua now back on the offensive. Is trying to find this stock take. Could potentially find it with the percentage that Saki currently has. Just has to find the right opening. Decent hit there to continue that. Saki, though, is going to be able to recover. Very, very close one there. And Kashua coming down, able to get that first stock onto Saki. Kashua holding strong at that 55, and as I say that, starting to take damage, getting up to 66%. And Saki finding some openings now to try to get that damage up. Ooh, and with that freeze, may get that second stock and is going to find that second stock onto Kashua. Kashua now down to the final stock of round 1 in this best of 3. Saki sitting at 42%. Trying to find an opening, using some of those long range to keep Kashua out, given the Mii Brawler is not as long range of player as Sora is. Kashua finding a little bit of damage here and there, in and out. And a big hit there by Saki. But as Saki was doing that Thundaga, Kashua able to kind of take advantage of Sora kind of being stunned there while using the ability. Gonna find some damage there. Getting the damage relatively equal and continuing to get up to the 89% against Saki. But Saki, huge hit there, but not able to get. But Kashua not able to stage recover because of the continuing combination that Saki was doing with the Sora kit. And that's going to take round 1 to Saki in this best of 3. Now we move into Final Destination, where we'll see if either player does switch up who they're playing as. Again, as we mentioned, or as I mentioned just earlier, the fact that some of these players have multiple characters that they're utilizing and everything could be using a different strategy going here into round 2. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. But Saki looking like they may stick with Sora, and as I say that, gonna potentially change to something else in the process. But man, and both of these players we are very used to seeing in the K12 Esports League compete. Obviously, we saw last round with Kashua. Yes, they were on the Mii Brawler, but starting out as King K. Rool, that's how I know them. Saki being on the Sora is pretty typical for them as well. So we'll see. Now we're actually going to see Kashua go over to the King K. Rool, but surprisingly, Saki coming in as hero this round, which is a very interesting choice in my opinion. But with that being said, we have seen Hero throughout the season being utilized by none other than Mono Aether, using them very well, who's also participating in this tournament. So we'll definitely have to see how Saki does. So far, just continuing to give some damage onto Kashua, using his own crown against him though. I believe that King K. Rool definitely wants his crown back, as Kashua is currently going up to 75%. Big hit there onto Kashua though, getting that first stock taken. Man, Saki only sitting at 22%. Now I say that as he climbs, Kashua finding that opening. Very quick stock take there though. And now Kasha was going to look to try to go through with this as Saki is looking through that ability kit for Hero. Going to try to use that MP wisely. Kasha sitting at 83% though, no joke. With that shield, Kasha is actually able to find those some damage. Is going to get the cannonball reflected back to him to take just a little bit of damage. Nothing to worry about too much though. Kasha sitting at 93%, still has some wiggle room to be hit though. And I thought they may have just had it, but good shield there by Saki. Kasha, we're going to try to find a hit here at 119% if they get the right one, and that could be it right there, and it is going to be the first stock against Saki. Saki coming back now at 34% though, getting a good hit there onto Kasha, who's at 109% currently. And Kasha, good hit there on the edge, not quite able to get, but Saki able to stage recover really, really easily there. With it 96%, Kasha was looking for that stock take to try to get this even playing field. Kasha now sitting at 120%. Saki getting a little bit of that damage taken back off with the ability usage. Is going to bring back the shield. And in a turn of event there, that cannonball getting deflected off of the shield. Kasha, unfortunately, kind of jumping up into it, is going to get hit and actually be knocked off, taking that second stock. And with that, Saki actually not able to stage recover, and is actually going to lose the second stock. This puts them at an even playing field at the moment, but huge hit there onto Kasha, getting into 42%, now 53%. Saki sitting at 0 at the moment, and as I say that, Kasha getting a decent hit to take them up to 23% so far. And man, what a fight to be watching this evening on this stream, and currently both sitting at a very similar percentage. Kasha's cannonball there getting the edge over Saki, getting a little bit of damage, but Saki coming back and getting Kasha up to 83%. Gonna shield against those long range. Kasha is gonna need to try to find an opening, because with that heavy damage can come a really good hit and take Saki off to take this to a round 3, which is what Kasha was wanting. Is going to be able to dodge that sleep ability that Saki just used. Saki also kind of waiting for an opportunity, trying to decide on which ability in their kit's going to bring them the advantage. But Kasha now on the offensive, taking advantage of the time being utilized by Saki. Saki going to try to get back on the stage, but Kasha with an up B is going to be able to find that hit and take that final stop. Each player now sits at 1 round apiece going into round 3 here on Battlefield, and this is anybody's game. Each of these players have not lost so far throughout this tournament, so each of them will continue on regardless, whether it's on the winner's bracket side or dropping down to that loser's bracket side as well. And as we will continue into next week, we'll definitely see some of those matches and everything live. So definitely looking forward to having that. Obviously, the recording and everything will be here on our YouTube channel, during which time we'll get that set up as quickly as possible, so that way you don't miss out. And then with some of our upcoming spring programming, we just wanted to give a quick shout out. We do have a Rocket League Duos tournament that is coming up. With some of our K-12 Esports League players starting next week, actually next Thursday. And so we probably won't be able to stream that first week, just kind of similar to the Smash Solos, trying to get things situated and matches and everything started. But we will have some coverage over the coming weeks of that. Check out the enrichment.k12.com site. We've got a couple of other K-12 power tournaments heading into May with a chess tournament, as well as a Fortnite solos that you can register for as well. But with that being said, we are going in here into round 3. Each player has switched back to their original character that they were playing as. We have Cashua back on the Mii Brawler, as well as Saki being back on this Sora. And so now being on Battlefield, a very similar scenery to that first stage with small Battlefield. And with that being said, we've started round 3, 47% now. Sitting is Saki, getting that freeze ability onto Cashua, getting them up to 30%. Cashua getting a good hit there onto Saki, taking them up to 69. Sora with a good grab and throw there. Going to try to follow up with Thundaga, not quite get anything, but with Blizzica is going to find the freeze and is going to get some of that damage put on. Still following up with some of those magic abilities. But Cashua with a big hit, being able to dodge and get behind, taking that first stock off of Saki. Saki kind of doing the same thing, wanting to try to answer back, and does, taking this each player down to 0%, 2 stocks apiece. What a close matchup so far. Cashua currently trying to find some placement and a foothold to get some of that damage in, as Saki is continuing some long range attacks, getting Cashua up to 63%, still holding strong at 0%. Cashua finally able to find that opening and get Saki up to 32, is able to dodge that Thundaga, but right up into that up B that Saki was holding out for. And with that backslash, Saki taking the second stock off of Cashua. Match point for Saki here as they are looking to take this final stock. Cashua hoping to continue in this tournament on the winner side, wanting to take off the second stock, give them the advantage and keep the damage to a minimal as much as possible. Doing a pretty good job, getting hit a little bit there in the process, and a big hit onto Cashua, followed by the Thundaga from Saki, taking them up to 76%. Saki currently at 85. Good hit there from Cashua onto Saki, taking them up to 99%, looking to get that stock take for the second one. Is it going to be enough? Not quite. Saki's going to be able to get back onto the stage. And Cashua with another big hit is going to be able to find that second stock, but can they hold on to it with the 76% remaining? Saki currently sitting at 12%. Currently has the upper hand when it comes to the damage, but Cashua doing a really good job at dodging the abilities. Is going to get hit by the Thundaga, taking them up to 92%. Great shield there by Cashua, trying to get them. Saki with a big hit there. Cashua is going to be able to stage recover, but unfortunately Saki with a strategic move on that, using that Thundaga to edge guard, and is going to find Cashua taking that final stock. As I mentioned, both players are still going to be continuing on in this tournament. Cashua is going to drop down to the losers bracket with just that one elimination. Saki's going to continue on this winners bracket going into next week. And next week, as I mentioned before, we will be officially live with these matchups on our Twitch page. The recording will be up here on YouTube shortly to follow. I will be with Robbie back casting for the season and everything. So it'll be a fun time. Please come by and check out those matchups. But these matches for week 2 were super, super incredible to watch. It's great to see some new faces as well as some familiar ones. And we can't wait to see who's going to be crowned the champion in next week's finals and everything. So stay tuned. I'm Dustin Owens, the coordinator for the K-12 Esports League. This has been our Super Smash Solos Week 2 broadcast. We'll see you next time.